Welcome back. Readings: Sylvia Walby's Theorizing Patriarchy, UN Women Reports on Gender Equality. Sylvia Walby's theorization of patriarchy remains a foundational intervention in feminist sociology because it treats patriarchy as a historically specific, structurally embedded system rather than a set of individual attitudes or isolated practices. Her approach is especially useful when read alongside recent women reports on gender equality, which document persistent global gender gaps and show how structural power relations shape women's lives in economic, political, and intimate spheres. This refers to UN Women and United Nations reports from 2023 and 2022. Together, these readings help students connect feminist theory with empirical evidence on the slow, uneven progress towards gender equality under contemporary capitalism and global governance regimes. Walby's definition and project. Walby defines patriarchy as a system of social structures and practices in which men dominate, oppress, and exploit women, emphasizing that patriarchy is not simply individual men's power over individual women, but an institutionalized pattern embedded across society. Her project in Theorizing Patriarchy responds to earlier critiques that the term patriarchy was too universal, ahistorical, or culturally monolithic. By insisting on theorizing variation and change while still retaining patriarchy as a core explanatory concept, Walby argues that feminist theory needs a more multidimensional framework that can analyze how patriarchy intersects with capitalism, racism, and other systems of inequality without collapsing gender oppression into class or reducing it to cultural norms alone. In doing so, she proposes a dual systems approach that treats capitalism and patriarchy as analytically distinct but mutually shaping, allowing feminists to examine both women's exploitation in wage labor and their subordination in the household and other institutions. Coming to six structures of patriarchy, a central contribution by Walby's text is the identification of six unrelated structures through which patriarchy is organized: paid work, household production, culture, sexuality, violence, and the state. These six structures are not separate domains but overlapping sites where male power is reproduced and contested, and where women's experiences differ by class, race, and other social locations. In the sphere of paid work, Walby shows how occupational segregation, wage discrimination, and precarious forms of employment confine women to lower paid, feminized sectors while reserving higher status, better paid positions for men. Household production refers to women's unpaid domestic labor, including childcare, housework, and emotional support, which sustains the labor force and the wider economy but remains devalued and largely invisible in conventional economic statistics. Culture, in Walby's sense, encompasses media, religion, education, and other symbolic systems that naturalize gender hierarchies, valorize masculinity, and construct femininity as subordinate, caring, and self sacrificing. Sexuality is structured through double standards, heteronormative expectations, and the regulation of women's bodies and desires, often positioning women as objects of male pleasure rather than autonomous sexual subjects. Violence constitutes a distinct but tightly linked structure in Valby's schema, highlighting how domestic abuse, sexual assault, and harassment function as mechanisms of control and intimidation that limit women's autonomy in both private and public spaces. Finally, the state is treated not as a neutral and arbiter but as an institution historically organized around male interests, reflected in laws, welfare regimes, criminal justice practices, and policy priorities that have often marginalized or ignored women's rights. Private and public patriarchy. Valby's distinction between private and public patriarchy produce a dynamic perspective on historical change. Private patriarchy refers to direct, individualized male control over women, particularly within the household, where the husband or father is the primary focus of authority. Public patriarchy, by contrast, describes women's subordination through large scale institutions such as labor markets, the state, and cultural organizations. She argues that many advanced capitalist societies have undergone a shift from predominantly private to more public forms of patriarchy as women's increased participation in paid work and public life reduces their confinement to the home but simultaneously exposes them to new forms of institutionalized inequality and control. This shift does not mean that household patriarchy disappears. Rather, public patriarchy overlays and transforms it, producing hybrid forms of domination in which women may be freer to work yet still bear a disproportionate burden of unpaid care and face discrimination, harassment, and glass ceilings at work. This conceptualization helps explain why legal reforms and labor market participation alone do not automatically produce gender equality, since patriarchal power is reconfigured rather than simply abolished. It also provides a framework for understanding the uneven impact of neoliberal restructuring, where cuts to welfare, privatization, and flexibilization of labor often shift costs back into households and specifically onto women's unpaid and low paid labor. Intersections with capitalism and other inequalities. Valby's dual system approach emphasizes the patriarchy and capitalism are distinct but articulated systems which can sometimes reinforce and sometimes partially contradict with each other. For example, capital may need women's cheap labor in certain sectors, pulling them into labor market, while patriarchal norms and institutions attempt to keep women dependent and subordinate within the family or restrict them to specific kinds of jobs. Her account anticipates later intersectional work by acknowledging that women's experience of patriarchy vary according to class and ethnicity, even though she does not explicitly deploy the language of intersectionality. Valby points out that middle class women may benefit from employing poorer women, often from marginalized communities, as domestic workers, thereby participating in unequal relations, even as they themselves are subject to gender subordination. This sensitivity to differentiation is crucial for connecting theorizing patriarchy with contemporary debates on global care chains, migrant domestic labor, and racialized patterns of violence and exclusion. It also opens a space to read Valby alongside more recent UN and UN Women analysis of how gender intersects with poverty, migration status, race, and rural urban location in shaping access to resources and rights. UN Women reports and global gender gaps. UN Women's flagship reports and related UN publications on gender equality provides empirical backing to many Valby's theoretical insights by documenting persistent and in some areas worsening inequalities. The Gender Snapshot 2023, prepared by UN Women and UNDESA, estimates that an additional 360 billion US dollars per year is required to achieve gender equality and women's empowerment across key sustainable development goals by 2030, underscoring the scale of structural underinvestment in gender equality. These reports also warn that at the current rate of progress, achieving full gender equality could take centuries, highlighting regressions in women income, safety, education, and health due to overlapping crises such as conflict, climate change, and the COVID 19 pandemic. The slow pace of change is mirrored in the World Economic Forum's Global Gender Gap Report 2023, which finds that only about 68.4% of the global gender gap has been closed and projects that it will take more than a century to achieve parity if current trends continue. Disaggregated data show uneven progress across dimensions. Health and survival and educational attainment are relatively close to parity on average, but economic participation and political empowerment lag significantly, with only around 60% and 22% of their respective gaps closed. This pattern resonates strongly with Valby's argument that women's entry into education and paid work does not automatically translate into equal power or resources because patriarchal structures are reconstituted within new institutional contexts. SDG 5, Structural Obstacles and Norms. UN Women's engagement with Sustainable Development Goal 5, achieve gender equality and empower all women and girls, frames gender equality as both a standalone goal and a cross-cutting condition for the entire 2030 agenda. SDGs 5 targets include ending discrimination and violence against women and girls, eliminating harmful practices such as child marriage and female genital mutilation, recognizing unpaid care work, ensuring women's participation in leadership, and securing sexual and reproductive health and rights. However, monitoring reports reveal that most targets are off track, with setbacks in areas such as gender based violence, unpaid care burdens, and women's political representation, illustrating how deeply entrenched patriarchal norms and institutions remain. The 2023 Gender Social Norms Index, GSNI, jointly produced by UNDP and UN Women, shows that biased gender social norms are still widespread and significantly constrain women's choices and opportunities, thereby undermining progress on gender equality despite legal reforms and policy commitments. These findings complement Valby's emphasis on culture, sexuality, and violence as structural dimensions of patriarchy, suggesting that changing formal laws is insufficient without transforming underlying social norms and power relations. They also underline the importance of feminist activism, social movements, and gender responsive public policy to challenge both private and public forms of patriarchy in households, markets, and states. Connecting theory and policy practice. Reading Valby alongside UN Women's reports encourages a dialogic relationship between feminist theory and policy oriented research. Valby structural analysis offer a lens to interpret the aggregate statistics and indicators using in global monitoring, showing how gender gaps in income, political representation, or exposure to violence are manifestations of deeper institutional arrangements rather than isolated problems to be fixed by technocratic solutions. Conversely, the empirical data and case examples presented in UN Women flagship reports can be used to update and refine Valby's framework, especially in relation to global south context, transnational governance, and contemporary forms of digital, ecological, and militarized patriarchy. For students of gender studies, this pairing illustrates why theoretical models must remain attentive to historical change and global diversity, and why policy agendas must be informed by robust critical feminist theory rather than gender neutral or purely economic modes of development. Today's case study: Global Care Chains and Public Patriarchy. A useful case study to illustrate the combined insights of Valby and UN Women is the phenomenon of global care chains in which women from poorer countries migrate to provide paid domestic and care work in wealthier households, often leaving their own families behind. In many receiving countries, middle class households rely on migrant women to perform low paid, precarious care labor that substitutes for inadequate public services and gender unequal divisions of domestic work, thereby externalizing the costs of social production. From Valby's perspective, this pattern reveals how the structure of paid work, household production, and the state intersect to reproduce a reconfigured public patriarchy. Men and women in rich countries may benefit from cheap migrant care labor, but women remain concentrated in feminized, low status jobs with limited rights, while patriarchal norms about women's responsibility for care are preserved rather than transformed. At the same time, sending countries experience care deficits, a migrant women's unpaid labor within their own households is replaced by other female relatives or older daughters, extending gendered burdens across generations and borders. UN Women's reports on families, women's economic status, and SDGs highlight that migrant domestic workers frequently face exploitation, long hours, violence, and limited legal protection, particularly where labor and immigration regimes exclude them from basic rights or tie their visas to specific employers. This case demonstrates how global inequalities, state policies, and gender norms combine to create a transnational circuits of care that depend on radicalized and closed hierarchies among women, challenging any simplistic narrative of linear progress towards gender equality. For teaching and research in gender studies, the global care chain example shows how Valby's theorization of patriarchy can be extended to analyze contemporary globalized economies, while UN Women's data and policy analysis can provide us with concrete evidence of the scale and consequences of these arrangements. It reinforces the need for intersectional, transnational feminist approaches that address not only former equality but also the redistribution of resources, recognition of care work, and transformation of the institutional structures that sustain both private and public forms of patriarchy. Thank you.